together here. All right. I can't tell when you are here or whoever you are. Drop your name so I can say hi to you. But thanks for joining me. I know this was a last minute um, announcement just because I missed it on my schedule. But I am Dr. Latoya Davis, and I am the owner of Chi Healing Institute. Every first and third Wednesday, I jump on YouTube and do Ask Me Anything live. Here at Ask Me Anything, hey, here to Ask Me Anything, you are free to drop your questions in the chat. I respond to them as they come up. Um, and yeah, we can talk about all things. So I am glad that you all are here. Go ahead and hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and share. And we can go and get started. So, like I said, anyone that has a question, you can drop it in the chat. And until I see a question in the chat, I'll just kind of talk about what's kind of been bubbling up for me over the last, I would say, few weeks. So this idea of, I always say that comparison is the thief of joy, right? It's one of the ways that one of the things that I teach about a lot, particularly when people are learning to trust their intuition. When we're in courses together, right? We have a tendency to make our marker be against someone else's, right? And the challenge with that is that it robs us of the ability to enjoy wherever we are in that moment, right? Which for us can be big. And one of the things that I really want to kind of point us to is that we never know someone else's journey, right? We never know how long it's taken them to get to where they are, for us to see the fruits of what they're doing, right? We only see the aspect that they show. And particularly now in this social media culture, where everybody, do people still say put on for the gram? I'm going to say it. Where people put on for the gram, right? It's so easy for us to put out the best, right? We want to show and be seen in our best light. And there are not very many people who are showing the journey, right? And even before they started to show the journey, who were showing all of the things that led up to the point where they got to the journey. And so we are experiencing feelings of jealousy, or experiencing feelings of defeatism in ourselves based on this outward perception of what we're perceiving other people to do. And it's an unreal thing. So I want to offer, as we move into this month of October, when you find yourself in moments, in positions, in situations, right, where you kind of start to rob yourself of being able to celebrate your accomplishment, that you just remind yourself that comparison is a thief of joy, right? And wherever you are in every moment is exactly where you're supposed to be. Okay. Wherever you are in every moment is exactly where you're supposed to be. And if it's someplace that doesn't feel good to you, the question then is, okay, what do I need to do? What do I need to shift? What changes do I need to make to change where I am? Right. But it's not about comparing yourself to somebody else. It is that internal feeling. It's tapping into how you feel internally to determine the validity of where you are and where you're not supposed to be. I had a session today, and so I talk a lot about soul-led life, right? That's my thing. Soul-led life, right? And this belief that when you are in alignment with your soul's desire, that things come with joy, ease, and abundance. And some of the ways that we are able to get in alignment with our soul, one is by listening, right? Part of it is really tapping into ourselves and letting go of past conditioning, letting go of all of the shoulds and the coulds and the things that we've taken on from our parents, from our teachers, from society, right? So kind of releasing that, giving yourself the freedom to be able to let go of that and tap into what's happening inside, right? Because the soul is always speaking. We just might not be listening, or there might be clutter in how we're receiving it, but it's always speaking. So one of the things in leading a soul-led life is listening, right? Another thing is trusting the information that's coming to you. But one of the exercises that I go through, I'm not going to tell you the whole exercise. You got to join my class for that. But one of a shortened version of the exercise that we go to in working to lead a soul-led life is asking the soul to lead, right? Asking the soul to lead. If anyone heard my conversation around spirit guides, one of the things I talk about is most times spirit guides don't help, or not most times, spirit guides don't help because we haven't asked for their help, right? And in this lovely universe of freedom of choice, we get to express freedom of choice every single day. And so energies don't just jump in to override or supersede our freedom of choice. But when we ask them to step in, when we ask them to be a participant, when we ask them to take a role, then now it's like, oh, okay, I've been put in, so now I can be put in. So one of the things with leading a soul-led life is just asking the soul. And when I'm talking about the soul, I'm talking about that truest nature and aspect of yourself, right? I'm talking about that aspect of you that has been with you since the beginning of your creation, right? Not the aspect of you that is here right now, or the aspect that only is concerned with your survival in this moment, but the aspect of you that is the closest part of you to source, however you perceive source to be, right? For some, that's the universe, the creator, God, however you perceive source to be. The soul is that aspect of you that is closest to that. Okay. That is the spark that individuated itself from source. And so we can ask the soul to lead. And but then when we ask the soul to lead, you have to trust that the things that the soul is leading you to are in fact what you should be doing. Right. One of the things that um I have an ancestral lineage healing apprenticeship, and they are graduating at the end of this month. So it's been a year. We've been at it for a year, and I'm very excited that we are getting ready for graduation. And graduation is with a retreat. So we're going to do a 3-day retreat. And this is an example of a soul-led life, right? So I'm putting the retreat together in my mind, my thinking mind, we're doing one thing. And myself was like, no, go to Stonehenge. That's not Stonehenge. Stone Mountain. Go to Stone Mountain, Georgia. And I was like, why would I go to Stone Mountain, Georgia? I've never been to Stone Mountain. I go to Atlanta all the time, but I've never been to Stone Mountain. I've never climbed the thing. I've never done anything with Stone Mountain. But it was very, very clear, right? Go to Stone Mountain. Okay, fine. Let me just look up some places in Stone Mountain. Right. And so then the download started coming of what I was going to do on Stone Mountain. Still, I'm like, this does not make sense to me, but whatever, we're going to go with it. Get into class the next time we had class after I sent out the announcement of what was going to happen. And I brought up the thing of Stone Mountain. And in that class, everybody was like, oh, yeah, and they do this and they do this. And when I talked about some of the activities, they were linking like specifically what we've been working on and the whole nature of this of the retreat linked perfectly, right? And so I start my days with asking kind of for that soul-led day, right? Because I don't want to be out here making choices that's just gonna give me the hard path to do something, right? I want to always find the path of least resistance. All right. So I'm going to ask for that soul-led day. We have some new people. Hey y'all. If you have questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. Right. The more questions you ask, the longer we get to talk and things like that. Soul-led day. All right. Another thing, sorry, I'm gonna have to be getting how you trying to get comfortable. Another thing that's been circling up or bubbling up is the month of October. I've realized over years, the month of October, a lot of people transition. October, November, December. And it's not coincidence. Let me not say it as if I somehow don't know why people are transitioning. Energetically, right? It's the change of the season, it's what's happening, where the earth is moving into in the cycle, right? We talked about in the last one, kind of the veil. So all of those things make sense as to why there are a lot of transitions during this time period. But what that means is the energy right? You have to be mindful of the energy that you kind of show up into the world with, and being one, protective of your personal energy, and also being more mindful of the energies that you are taking on. Right. We are not in the period right now where people are transitioning due to a lot of calamities, or where we have a lot of unsettled spirits or unsettled souls. We aren't necessarily in that time frame. So you don't have to be there. There is not, whereas last year I was like, there are a lot of kind of earthbound souls walking around and things like that. It's not that same energy, but there is still that death energy. And so what happens with death and that death energy is, although right now my I don't want to call it the warning, my conversation isn't about those who are transitioning. My conversation is about those who are staying, those who are left here, right? The energy of these months is, there's going to be a despair, right? A heaviness around people, kind of small things setting people off, right? And it's because we don't know what is happening in the background of somebody's life, right? So just because people are showing up smiling and happy and doing the things that they're supposed to be doing, or seemingly doing the things that they're supposed to be doing, there's a lot of people right now in this time and transition that are going to be carrying just a lot of emotions. And the way the earth and the energies are kind of coming to play is they're kind of surface, right? They're going to be kind of surface. So the smallest thing could set someone off or make this trigger thing happen. And so I'm going to offer that as we kind of move through these next 3 months, that we're really mindful of one, our own temper and our own temperament, right? And even if we get caught off, like you notice that you just blew up for something, right? Just kind of take a moment to do a self-assessment to figure out what's really going on. And if you notice that you are receiving that energy from someone else, to also just kind of, don't escalate the situation, right? Don't escalate the situation. So kind of a catchphrase for the next three months can be de-escalate, right? So de-escalate. And I really don't know where that message is, because that was not where I was going, but that is what wanted to come out and share. I mean, want to be shared. So yes, please like and share. I appreciate all likes and shares. Um, while we're here, since no one seems to have questions, wait, hold on. Where'd they go? Oh, I never do this either, right? But I am was led to pull out some cards to give a message. And I don't publicly write. I'm not that person that publicly gives messages. I use cards all the time in my personal life. Have tons of them: oracle cards, tarot cards, and just so I am using the Chalks of Kikongo cards. They're by Agino Sweet Things. It's a wonderful deck. Oh, speaking of, so seeing this just made, which is probably, haha, look at that, which is why this is probably coming up. So these cards and all of the imagery and all of these things that are on here, the various symbols and stuff that she uses, are from the Congo cosmology. Hey sis, are from the Congo cosmology and the Kikongo people. And what's interesting about why that whole thing just popped in my head about like why I grabbed these cards, and the fact that I'm doing this today, is because this month, I believe it's today, my god sister's on the thing. I won't call her out, but my god sister's on the thing, and I texted her today. I was like, I feel like today is our anniversary, right? The day that we were initiated into Palo. It's been so many years, like 15, 16. The date is a little blurry. But I in my spirit of spirits and in my heart of hearts, I feel like it's October 5th. And so that's just really, really funny that I pulled these cards today to do that. All right, so let's see. And again, if anybody has questions, drop them in the chat. All right. I'm going to pull 3 to give a whole thing. So this was the first one, moving right. And the second one was reflect. And the third one was journey. Okay. And the intention that I set when pulling the cards was for a collective message for everyone that was here, that would be able to receive some information and get some insight from the message that was shared, and particularly checking in or receiving that information from the ancestors. And the reason I say that is because oftentimes, I'm a teacher at heart, y'all, so sorry, excuse me. Oftentimes, when we are communing with spirits, right? Um, there is failure to be a clear intention, right? So if there's failure to be a clear intention, then what you get back is not really, it's however you then apply it, right? So I really believe that when we are communing in any circumstance, situation, right? When you're going to somebody, when clients come to me, I'm like, as I am doing the opening prayer, as I'm doing this, I want you to hold your intention in your mind, right? Because setting that intention and putting that intention out there is very, very important, because that is what is being responded to, right? If I was just here, like, all right, give me a card, right? Give me a card. And then I pulled this card. What is this? What is the story? How am I to interpret this? How is it to be applied? So it's really, really important to understand the intention. And then it's also really important to be clear about who the intended responder who the intended responder is, right, on the other side. And so often we kind of miss that, and that's why people end up with all types of foolishness. But anyway, so tonight's message for the collective, they're bringing me back to this idea of kind of this next phase. So not looking at planning long, they're showing me like a road. So like not looking at the journey, not looking at the journey as like all the way down, right? But seeing the journey in segments. So it's like I can see from here to 5 miles down the road. I'll tell you how they're actually showing this to me. It's like I can see from here to this shop, right? And on from here to this next point, this next destination, all of the things that I need are here on this path, on this destination. The things that are beyond that destination, I don't see as clearly, right? It's like foggy horizon, that type of thing. So what that's saying is to break down how you're thinking about the journey, right? Remember I talked about in the beginning, like the thief comparison is the thief of joy. So this is like an idea of, dang, I'm not supposed to be at this. I'm supposed to be at this endpoint right now. Right. So you're looking at the endpoint and being upset or being discouraged or not being able to celebrate the wins because you're not at the end point. And they're saying it's not about that. Break the journey up, right? Figure out where you need to be, the next step. Think about that. As you were trying to get to the next step, you need to be in reflection of those things, those situations, those moments that have prevented you from really being able to move forward at the capacity and the speed that you want to. A lot of us are not making the progress that we need right now because we have not learned from the things that we experienced in the past, right? And so self reflection is really, really important. This particular period that we're moving into really supports the energy of self reflection and letting go, not holding on, not beating yourself up, but letting go. Using the darkness, using the nighttime, using this idea that we have less light to really be able to pull out those areas and those things that we need to uncover within ourselves and allow us to let them go. And then this is really about this notion of moving right, this notion of moving right is talking about um sorry. This notion of moving right is talking about they're saying like the wheel of time, right? So it's um you can't do like this, right? It's like the notion of the word right isn't about making like a right turn or moving in the right direction. It's literally about moving in a direction that does not have you flip-flopping, zigzagging, and weaving yourself back and forth. So as you're reflecting on this next stop in your journey, what are the next right steps that you need to take? What are the next right steps? Right? As you are planning the journey, plan. As you're planning the journey, as you're reflecting on where you want to be, as you are thinking about that pit stop, not the final destination. In January, they're saying is more of a time to think about the long-term journey, and to begin to forecast a little bit farther out. But right now, it's a shorter jaunt, so to speak. It's a shorter stretch. All right. So that's what I got for y'all. Let me see if there's anything else. And just that as you are traveling along this path and along this journey, to know that you are supported. You are supported. um Even when you don't see the support is there. They're saying specifically that you have silent forces that are rooting for you, that have been rooting for you since birth. Okay. You have silent forces that are rooting for you. And I literally see them like, you know how you watch the marathons? I don't watch marathons, but you know how you watch the marathons and you see the people on the side that's like, yay, right? As the people are running through, and then they can stop on the side. Somebody might have some water, throw them something, and they can just keep going. Like that's literally how I see it. Okay. So just know that y'all have people there that are rooting for you. All right. So a few updates, I guess. We'll get to updates. I wrote a journal. Yay. Woohoo. Right. And just so you know, right, I'm a real person. I experience, all of the feelings and the emotions and all of that stuff that I try to help coach people through as well. Right. The beauty is self-reflection, right? For me to be able to be like, wait, in this moment, this is what's happening. So I'm gonna tell you a story. I put the journal out. Oh, it's an Akashic Records guided workbook and journal. And originally, I wrote it. Thank you. Originally, I wrote it as a compliment to this, or to support the students that were in my soul wisdom courses. And then as I started to put it together, I realized that um, I was gifted that the Akashic Key process, which is the process that I teach for accessing the Akashic Records, it was a download for me. I was gifted that process to share it, right? And this particular guided workbook and journal was a way for me to put it out there more. So although it can support those students because it follows my modality, right? So although it can support the students that are in my class, as I started to write it, I started to shift a little bit and made it basically so that anybody could pick it up and use just the journal to kind of walk them through the process of being able to access their records. And um, the prompts and the journaling part is about helping you understand how you receive information, being able to kind of go back and look at confirmations and all of that stuff. So that's the background on the journal, right? So did the journal, was really excited when it was online. Yes, I could see it. And then I ordered the proof, just to make sure that everything was great. And then it came, and I waited for my kids, right, so we could open it together. And it is. I'm gonna tell you the story. So hold on. So it came. We opened it like maybe 2, 3 nights ago. I can't remember. And I'm flipping through it, right? And my excitement started to change, right? And here I went, literally. I was like, yay, look, right? I wish I had one up here. Oh, I do. It's over there. I was like, yay, look. And then I was like, oh, the font. Oh, I don't know if I like the margins. Dang, I should have used a solid line. Right. So now all of these things are happening. And I said, okay, because I was set to launch it tomorrow. I said I'm launching it tomorrow. I was like, well, maybe I can push it back and I'll go back and redo all of these things. My daughter literally, this is exactly how it happened. She started laughing. Like not a like a small chuckle, but like a gut laugh, right? She started laughing. And I was like, what's happening? And she's like, Mom, you're sitting there with the book in your hand that you created that people can buy, and you're talking about the font. And I had to laugh with her, right? And so what I then had to do was say, why? Right? It always goes back to the why. Why did I just respond that way? And I realize it's fear, right? So I talk a lot about self sabotage, how we get in our own way of our success, right? So now I've listened to spirit the whole time, right? I am a notorious Akashic Records checker. So I have created the journal in alignment with what the universe wants to put out as this journal in the Akashic Records, right? So why now all of a sudden am I tripping about font, right? And so when I self-checked myself, it was fear, right? Fear of putting this thing out and how it was received. And so delaying is a tactic, right? Delaying is absolutely a tactic. So me saying, well, no, I can just hold on and release it, and let me go back and do this and release it again. That's crazy, right? Everybody knows I always say done is better than perfect. And so here I was sitting with something that was done, right? And the nature of me is I will always find something to correct. Always. Right? Always. I'm a professor. I never give anybody 100, right? Because for me, there is always something that you could have done differently, right? So I never give 100. I've never, unless it was like you know, a this or that, right? A 0 or 100, a 0 or 10, right? But if there's anything on the scale, never give 100. When I sit on grant panels, never give the full amount, because I just think that there's always something else that you could have done. So all of that to say that I had to have a moment with myself. Right, I had to have a moment with myself, bring my own skills that I use with everybody else, and get out of my own way. Right. So all of that to say that the journal will be launching tomorrow. It is available on Amazon. I would love for everyone to purchase it tomorrow. To purchase it tomorrow, I will send out a link. I'll post it on all of the social media and everything like that. Um, working on the newsletter, so they'll have the link. The newsletter should go out tonight, which will be the monthly newsletter. The article this month is about using your ancestors for manifestation, incorporating your ancestors into manifestation, and so it'll have that link for that tomorrow as well. So yeah, that was my self reflection moment. And just know, like I said, we all go through these things, right? So the key is to be able to check yourself, to recognize what's happening, and then to make corrective action, right? So to not just sit in it, because then that's how you start to spiral out the other way. Yes, and the reality is, right. In addition to me tripping about the font, there's always like there's nothing even that you can put out that somebody is going to be like, they're gonna find there's like this one sentence had a space, and all the rest of them didn't have a space. So I had to also embrace that too. But the content I feel completely 1000% um happy with and proud of. And my goal really is with my goal in self-empowerment, and teaching and talking about self-empowerment is to give people tools, right, that you are able to use whenever you need, however you need, in order to navigate your own healing and your own elevation. And I find and 100% believe that the Akashic Records is one of those things, right? Because you don't have to go to somebody else to do it for you, right? Yes, you can, right? I still have my students who've taken the class, who still book sessions with me, who still do coaching with me, right? But they're not having to come to me for like the little things, right? They're able to kind of go in there. And then sometimes when they come, they're like, hey, this is what I've gotten so far. Can you help me with this? Right. So I completely believe it. And then for myself, it's just been one of the things that has really shifted how I show up. So the book is $16.99, right? So it's really, really reasonably priced. It has the prayer in there. There's a link that you can go to download. Am I telling a lie? I might be telling a lie. There might be a link that lets you download the attunement. I don't remember if I put that in the book, but I do know that the prayer and the process is there. And then the journal is broken up into 3 weeks, which each week is kind of a different way to approach. And then the last part of it is just free pages with the assumption that you've gotten it, right? You've gotten it and you are just some extra journaling pages. And then I am working on the next one, which will be probably out in a week. I'll be finished in a week, but then how long it'll take for me to get it uploaded and everything, maybe 2 weeks. But that one is for people who are practitioners, who are Akashic Record practitioners. And so it's like basically a client book for you to be able to keep all of your session notes. And so just some things, again, kind of the way that I teach about what you're looking for, all of that. And then one for your own personal practice. So those are the things that I have coming up. So if y'all don't have nothing for me to talk about tonight, I have shared all of the random musings in my head. We will be back on October 12th, I believe. Nope, that's next week. October 19th. There is October 17th is the free Akashic practice sessions. So anyone who wants to jump on that, you are welcome to jump on those Zoom calls. You get paired with someone else. You receive and you give a reading, and then you get feedback. So you are welcome to join those. The link for that is always in the Facebook group. So if you're not a part of the Facebook community, it is Soul Wisdom, Living an Aligned Soul-Led Life. And then the Akashic Studies community is She Akashic Studies. Okay, but that one is for if you have taken classes and you already know, right, what that is. What else? Oh, have a class coming up on Sunday, starting on Sunday. There are 3 spots available. Oh, yes. So this is hoodoo. Okay. So on Sunday, have a class coming up. Aligned Soul Manifestation, which is an offshoot from the conference that we did. The conference was amazing, y'all. So many great speakers, so much great information. But it's an offshoot of that, right? And this idea again that the soul is, each one of us are designed individually. And we have specific things that resonate and work with us at soul level. Our soul, before we incarnated into this body, was like, we're going to do this, we're going to do this, we're going to have this, we're going to have this trait, right? And it built on from all of the other things in your past life and experiences and all of that stuff. And so when we show up in this lifetime, there are just particular things and ways that we most align. And when we most align, things are easiest. And manifestation is no different, right? We are all designed to manifest in a particular way. And sometimes we struggle with manifestation because we are taking on things that are more popular culture, which don't necessarily align with us, right? And so the example, or the easiest example that I use is some people are process oriented and some people are outcome oriented, right? So someone who is process oriented is at soul level. So at soul level, someone who is process oriented, it is the journey is more important for them. The process of achieving the goal is more important for them. And someone who is goal oriented, it's about the goal. It's about achieving the goal. Don't matter how it feels. It don't matter if it feels good. Think about a gymnast, right? A gymnast is not in practice like, oh my God, this practice is great. Yes, I got blisters and my body hurts. And yes, right? They're like, I am going to win the gold medal. And if I have to be there all day and all night, I am going to win the gold medal, right? That's a goal oriented person. A process oriented person, the goal is like secondary, right? It's the thing that allows them to go through the process, right? I am process oriented. And it took me starting to understand this to embrace that, right? So for a long time, I felt crazy because, like my graduation, everybody was like, graduation. And I was like, yeah, like I did it, right? You want to have a party? No. Like I never wanted to celebrate any or what other people considered to be major milestones, right? And even if you don't know, I'm a dancer. I currently teach dance, but I was a performer. I don't perform anymore. But I never enjoyed it, right? I loved rehearsal, right? That was my happy part. I loved rehearsal. And the class, I mean, the performance was like this thing that it just happened to come after rehearsal. But now I realize because I'm process oriented, it's not the outcome that matters to me, right? That's never going to be the thing that drives me ever, right? It's always about the journey. And so for people who are process oriented, when they're working towards manifestation, if you don't enjoy an aspect of the process, it actually delays your ability to bring that thing that you want into your frequency or into alignment with you, right? It literally disrupts the vibration. Whereas if you're goal oriented, it doesn't matter if you how you feel about it. It doesn't disrupt your ability to bring things into manifestation. So in the soul aligned manifestation class, we will be looking at the 7 aspects or categories that kind of go into soul aligned manifestation. And then with each person, you will create basically your own plan, right? So you can come in with your goals over the next 6 months, I think is where we are, with your goals over the next 6 months. And we'll kind of go and look at each of those things and determine how you are oriented at soul level and then how you're actually showing up here in this 3D reality, right? So we can figure out where the disconnect is and talk about things to bring you into alignment. So that's that course. It's starting on Sunday. It's for 8 weeks. We'll meet at 9 in the morning. It's an hour. And then you get one 30-minute coaching session, one private 30-minute coaching session with me as well, just to kind of talk about however you want to use that coaching session. I have 3 spots left in that class because it's a cap of 10. So I have 3 spots left in that class if you're interested in that. That'll also be going out in the newsletter today, and it's in the group and on the Facebook page. Somebody asked a question. The Hoodoo Heritage Month, and then did I stop doing Akashic Record readings? So I open my calendar up occasionally for Akashic Record readings. The challenge is during the school year, it's a little more difficult for me to do readings, right? During the summertime, I have a lot more fluidity and flexibility because school is out. But during the year when my kids are in school and then I'm teaching, it's just a little more complicated. I've actually over this week been processing or kind of going through what I'm going to do, and I believe that I'm going to open up my calendars on the weekends. So Saturdays and Sundays from 9 to 12, I am going to open up my calendars. And part of that is because I really do enjoy one-on-one interaction with clients. And I love the feedback. Like I like that. I like the one-on-one aspect of it. And although I appreciate and I also love doing this group work that I'm doing and the teaching and all of that stuff, every now and then I'd be like, dang, right. And then my past clients typically they never really listened to the fact that I stopped doing readings. And so they still was booking readings. And so like when I do something with them, I'm like, dang, I missed this. Right. So I had a few sessions over the weekend, again, of like some older clients. And I said, you know what? I can squeeze in Saturdays and Sundays, right? Without any complications. So I am going to do that. So Hoodoo Heritage Month. I actually wanted to share something in the Facebook group because someone posted on their page. Um, and of course, I'm gonna have to drop it in while you. Yes, the Facebook group is Soul Wisdom semicolon living an aligned soul led life. Y'all, titles are not my friend, um, but I'm pretty sure that that's it. Um, what was I talking about? Oh, Hulu Heritage Month. So I'll post it. I'll post it because I don't want to waste time looking for it right now. But it had a thing where like every day, and you all may have seen it, but every day there was like a task or something that was associated with a particular day. So it was like on the first, take a spiritual bath. On the second, do a this. On the third, do a that. And I loved it because all of the things that were on there were very, very simple to do. And I was also reflecting on this idea about hoodoo today as I was driving and take my kids from art class. And although I do not consider myself to be a hoodoo practitioner, right, I do respect hoodoo as its own cultural practice, right? And I do not consider myself to be a hoodoo practitioner. But I also believe that it is kind of almost impossible for Black people born in the South to not to not have practiced hoodoo, right? Just because of things that were passed down, right, the ways and the things that we learned, how we were indoctrinated, are all of those practices, right? So that's one part that I was thinking about. And then the other part that I was thinking about was um one of the things that I study is migration patterns, migrations of people, particularly people of West African descent, and how they were dispersed throughout the diaspora, and then particularly with the diaspora talking about Cuba, Haiti, and Brazil. And then lately I've been expanding that into New Orleans, right? Into New Orleans. And so thinking about that today, again, with this hoodoo thing, and the practices and the things that show up as hoodoo, right? And looking at the dispersed people, and again, some of those practices and how they showed up and why they showed up in the ways and the places that they showed up. I'm like a real like academic nerd. I love that stuff. That is, but to answer your question, do I have any good hoodoo documentaries that I recommend this month? I don't. Um, I actually just had a conversation last night around the depiction of the depiction of Black spiritual things in popular culture, right? Of course, the ones that are great we can't find on TV. We can't find anymore, right? Like Daughters of the Dust. Um, but I don't. There are none that are popping up in my mind. But now that you ask me, I'm gonna find some and post it. Um, But I am gonna share that hoodoo thing because, like I said, I think that those things are great and we can incorporate them, and they're just good general spiritual hygiene. That's the point. They're just good spiritual hygiene. No matter what you do or what you practice, those things were good. I love Mojo Working. Yes, I love that book. Um, and although it's not quite hoodoo, jambalaya, and of course all of the Zora Neale Hurston books, right? And just Adrian or TT TT Talks posted something that was based off of a Virginia Hamilton screenplay. I don't remember them. She literally just posted it like maybe yesterday or 2 days ago. But it was based off of off of a Virginia Hamilton screenplay. I believe it was a movie. I didn't see it, but she posted it and said that it was good. So that's all I got, y'all. Yeah, I loved it. And you can't find it though. So if you find it, then tell me where it's at. Jendai. All right. Have a fabulous Wednesday. Have a fabulous Wednesday. I will see y'all in officially, I will see you in 2 weeks. And maybe I'll post some videos. So like, share, subscribe, all of the things. And I will see y'all later. Bye.